just to tell you a little bit about some of the things I do. As I mentioned, some of the pinnacles of my career has been going over being part of the New Zealand team at Olympics and seeing people come from your age and stage and development as athletes all the way through to Olympic gold medalists. And that's been a really satisfying part of what I've been doing over the last 10, 12 years. So I live in North Shore of Auckland with my family. You'll see a photo of them. My youngest is just outside the frame there, but she's sort of down the bottom there. And what we're going to be talking about, the same things that we do for premiership teams and professional sport. Also work for the Royal New Zealand Ballet as well. So thinking about how we apply that in really different contexts too. New Zealand Athletics is where I've been for about 12 years as well, working with all the track and field athletes who you'll see and know, some of you. And then also working in settings like surgery for medical specialists and people in businesses and corporate. But it's the sports bit we're going to be focusing on. So we have the 4-week program, which we'll do as we go along. And then at the end of tonight, we're going to have started to introduce our game. So getting you guys to think about in basketball terms, I'm going to give you some examples from other sports. And I'm going to get you guys thinking around how does that play out in basketball? What's important in basketball? And get you guys thinking about that. And then after that, we're thinking about our A game. When we're bringing our A game, what is it? What are we focused on? What are we doing? What are my routines and my preparation that I go through to ignite my A game so I can bring my best? And then we're going to finish with an exercise to take away. So there's 3 things I've noticed that the best athletes have. And we're going to need those 3 things as we go through these workshops as well. So the first one is accountability. And that's knowing that your performance is down to you. However you want, this is the beauty of sport, however you want to perform, you're in control of your performance. And I want to give you the tools to be able to bring your A game, not just know your A game, but being able to bring that consistently. The best athletes also have a willingness to do the work, willingness to do things that sometimes uncomfortable to achieve the goals that they want to achieve. And so, yes, sometimes there'll be some difficult questions, but I think it would be something that we'd quite enjoy as we go through these workshops. And then the last one is courage. And all the best performers in all the domains, we're always going to need courage. And so that's to do what's important to you, even when it gets hard. And so a lot of mental skills is how do you stay doing what's important to you in the tough moments, which may be on the court, which may be off the court. And to get to know our A game, we need a bit of courage just to understand ourselves the times we go off track into our B game, so we can be honest about that, and then look at when we're at our best and actually be honest about our strengths that we bring so we can bring our A game as well. And Carter first, but same instructions.
Point here at the back of my run-up is often when I'd find my mind switching from a state of blue head into a state of red head. I remember at Crow Park in Ireland, 80,000 people, and it was dead silent, and all I felt at this part of my run-up was, oh my God, there's 80,000 people all watching me kick this goal.
One of the more familiar sights of World Rugby, Daniel.
Don't miss. So when I'm thinking like that, my mind is in a state of red, and I'm outside of my routine. So something I've learnt when I'm in a state of red and to get back into a state of blue is acknowledging that I'm in a state of red. So in the game, in a game situation, if I drop the ball and I'm running around thinking about the drop ball and letting the team down, I slap myself on my leg. Okay, I accept that I'm in the red. Back of my run up, I don't want to be here slapping myself. So what I do is I'm thinking about not missing, I'm outside of my routine. And what I'm doing now is I'm pushing my toes into the ground. All of a sudden, for 3 seconds, I haven't thought about missing the kick or the pressure of everyone watching me in this moment, and all I've thought about was the feeling of my toes pushing into the grass. That's me accepting that I was in a state of red, and I'm using that tool to get back into the blue. So once I've done that for 3 seconds, breathe, routine, look up, visualize the ball going through, look back at the part of the ball that I want to be kicking, breathe, and all of a sudden I'm back in my routine. And then from there, just going into the ball.
Dankata's kick is solid again.
At this point,
Okay, what did you understand from that? What stood out about what you some of the building blocks of performance mindset and what's important in performance mindset? Sienna in room 4. Yeah, what did you guys have?
I'll get Noah or Sienna to speak. I'm one of the team management, so I was more of a discussion
Yeah, Noah.
midpoint.
Okay, Noah.
Sorry, Noah.
Gonna chuck over to you. Yeah, what stood out for you in that conversation?
Yeah, sort of just the same to Lawson. Like, can't really like compete when we're in our red zone. Like, have to get yourself back to the blue zone. However, you do that.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Room 5. So Amelia and Lincoln, or room 6, Kalina and Shay Marie. Same thing or different things? Anything different you guys came up with, or on top of that?
Was just recognizing when you're in red, that's the first key step, I think. And then creating tools to get yourself out of it. And so Dan Carter's was to press his toes in the ground, which just changes what space of the brain you're operating in.
Yeah. Yeah. And so when I was speaking to Liam before the session, we're identifying some periods in the game when we know that the mental pressure is going to come on. So first of all, well done to everyone who spoke up there and for the conversations that you had in your room. So broadly speaking, we've got that two things. There's one, understanding, okay, there's a difference. When I'm in flow and when I'm in the blue head, we don't need our mental skills. You know, when everything's flowing, when we're on top of our game, when it's low pressure, when our skills are flowing, we arguably don't need our mental skills, regardless of whether that's what's got us there. But it's those times when we're definitely going to need them that we're going to need them. So it's about finding tools that you guys can have to do what? To come back into the moment, and you remember from what Dan Carter was saying there, into your process. So when we know what our A game's made of, then we know what our process is. And we're going to be spending a bit of time in the workshops as we come up saying, well, what do I mean by that, by process? You guys, you've been around sport. You've heard people like me and certainly your coaches talk about having your mind in the process, not the outcome. So in basketball, there's something really important for me. There's this idea of being in the eye of the storm. Now, basketball, it moves fast. It's an emotional game. It's high pressure. Everything happens quickly. So if you imagine a storm whipping around in a circle, what we're going to try and do is we don't have to stop the game. We don't have to stop it being emotional and intense. In fact, we'll come to welcome that. It's about how to bring ourselves, find clarity, and being able to bring ourselves right into the middle, in the eye of the storm. That's a term that's been used in the NBA by some of the best people over there, and be able to put yourself in your blue head and put yourself right in the moment so your attention can be in the game rather than up in your head or wherever else. So thanks for that. Now, in this next one, I'm going to get you guys to do the same thing, to have a look and see what you're understanding from this. And it's actually going to break things down in a little bit more detail for you. So pay attention for the next video. We're going to get that rocking and rolling in just a second. And it's a short one, so I might play it a couple of times for you, and then we'll do the same thing. We'll jump back into those breakout rooms.
Mental strength, which is what I think is your great gift.
I would have to correct you. I have to correct you. It's not a gift. It's something that comes with work. Conscious breathing is a big part, especially in the moments when you're under tension. I don't like this kind of a mindset that I see a lot in sports, like just think positive thoughts, be optimistic. There is no room for failure and stuff like this. It's impossible to do that. You are a human being. The difference, I guess, between the guys who are able to be biggest champions and the ones that are struggling to get to the highest level is the ability to not stay in those emotions for too long. So as soon as I experience it, I acknowledge it, I maybe, burst, I scream on the court, whatever happens, but then I'm able to bounce back and reset.
Okay, you guys want to hear that one more time?
Yeah, play it once more.
Mental strength, which is what I think is your great gift.
I would have to correct you. I have to correct you. It's not a gift. It's something that comes with work. Conscious breathing is a big part, especially in the moments when you're under tension. I don't like this kind of a mindset that I see a lot in sports, like just think positive thoughts, be optimistic. There is no room for failure and stuff like this. It's impossible to do that. You are a human being. The difference, I guess, between the guys who are able to be biggest champions and the ones that are struggling to get to the highest level is the ability to not stay in those emotions for too long. So as soon as I experience it, I acknowledge it, I maybe, burst, I scream on the court, whatever happens, but then I'm able to bounce back and reset.
Okay, folks. So I'll get you again into your breakout rooms and just a quick conversation around, okay, so what does that tell us about the how? What do we want to do? What else does that tell us? And when you're doing that, and we're going to take it a step further and thinking what Djokovic said, what applies to basketball? So you have a quick conversation around, what did he see? What did he say was important? And how does that apply to basketball? And when can you use that? Yeah, who wants to speak up for Riley? I can see you on screen. What do you guys come up with?
We were just talking about how if something breaks down during the game, you just gotta bounce back from that. The breathing technique that he uses would help during the game, after a turnover, when the coach has been talking about no turnovers and you're just upset that happened, or during free throws when everyone's just watching.
Yeah. Look, I think those are just really brilliant answers, and Amelia and I were talking about something really similar. Riley, thanks a lot. What I heard from you is you got to be able to move on, like stuff's going to go wrong. And I think that's what's really powerful for me from that video. Novak Djokovic is the best in the world at tennis. And if it's going to happen to him, it's going to happen to us. And so he makes that point of you're a human being. You're not so you're not a robot. And so there will be times when mind will go away. So we have to be prepared. These pressure moments will show up. And the one that we were discussing as well is the typical one is after you've made a mistake. So if you can have a ritual, something that you practice over and over again, you're going to make mistakes and you're going to feel it. The bigger the game, the bigger the pressure. So if you've got a ritual you can go to, and then you can get back in the game. We talked about, you drop a ball, you throw a intercept, you miss a shot in offense, whatever it is, and being able to bounce back from that. Sienna and Zach, I'm going to kick over to your room. How did that go? The same, different? What did you guys notice?
We just talked about the same things really, but just the best players, just acknowledging that those emotions are there, but just getting out that red zone really quickly. And also just that next play mentality. It doesn't really matter, and just having a bit of a routine that you can go to just to make sure that everything's under control.
Yeah. So now and next, for basketball, such a fast-moving game, it's better to make a quick decision than make the right decision slowly a lot of the time. And so that now and next mindset, I love that. Riley, from you, one thing I missed there that you point out, that the breath is the basic tool that we're going to use to reset body and mind. So your body's always in the moment. It's okay. But it's the mind that drifts off into the future or the past or into worry or what have you. So we've got to understand where the mind goes. But then we use our breath to bring the mind and the body back together. Breath and our cues. And when we do that, then we can choose where we put our attention. So emotions can take the attention away. And just like Novak Djokovic described, bring our attention back. So breath's going to be our main tool. And we're going to spend more or less a whole workshop looking at breath, how we use it, how we can anchor ourselves back in the present using it, because it's our key foundational tool. So looking forward to that. So this week, it's really important, is I want you to notice when you're in your A game, when you're in your B game. So I want you to find those opportunities when you can start to practice a reset. So we can all do this right now. And there's one type of breath I'm going to give you to practice during performance. We're all going to give it a go now. So whether you got your camera on or not, and this is it's pressure breathing. And so the first one is this. It's a right in the moment breath, and we are going to practice these in another workshop. So what you're going to do is you're going to breathe. It's a real simple one. This, you're going to breathe as far in as you can, and then you're going to suck a little bit more breath in, and you're going to be up tight like a balloon, and then you're going to let that air out. So I'll demonstrate. You breathe all the way in. And let the lungs deflate. So if everyone does that now, I don't know who you've got around you, your family pets, anyone you've got around, don't worry about it. We're going to fill the lungs as full as you can. Then suck a little bit more breath in. And then let that go. Let it deflate slowly. Okay, so that's a quick, in the moment pressure breath. And that's one you can use just to release pressure. So that's a tool that's yours to practice as we go away this week. And then the other one is this one, which is box breathing. And you'll have the recording to go away with as well. So box breathing is really simple. You're really going to paint the box, the sides of the box. So we're going to breathe in, that's that side. We're going to hold the breath, we're going to let the breath out, and then we're going to pause. So you're going to count 4 on the in breath. So breathe in along with me. Okay, so if you watch my finger, breathing in, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, pause. Do one more round of that. Hold, out, pause, 2, 3, 4. Okay, if you notice how you feel, what I'm going to ask you to do is put any after effects in the chat right now. Yeah, so you've got a little bit more relaxed. So again, relate that back to the videos we've seen. Look, it's not going to make everything calm around you. It's just going to clear the mind a little bit. Yeah, slowing the heart rate. Yeah, having your mind and your body a bit calm, introducing some relaxation. Yeah, relaxed. I'm not going to have a go at that other one, relaxed. Yeah, and present. So again, we're going to use our breathing. A game's exciting, it's fast moving. A practice game is calm, but you know, a high pressure game generally isn't. But what we can do is use these breaths either before or during a game just to bring our level down a little bit. So this is your homework. It's really simple. We've got those 2 breaths. We've got the pressure breath and the box breathing. And so when we start next week, I'm going to be asking you, when and where did you find to use this? Because it sounds to me like all the things we're talking about will relate to everybody. You've got a chance to practice. You could practice at school. You practice on the bus. You could practice before training. You practice in your quarter time, in your huddle. You practice after you've got changed before you go out on court. Yeah, Shay Marie, you've got a question there?
I just wanted to add from Novak's video, the 2 things that stuck out for me. I just thought it was, I felt important to mention was the 2 things. The first one was that it's not a gift. It's actually I want people, people to realize that it's the skill takes a lot of work, and even as adults, we're continually working at it as well. Even though we're not athletes, just in daily life, this is a skill that you need to practice. Because yes, we're talking about basketball at the moment, but some of you might not go on and play basketball for years. So it's important to be able to transfer this skill into real life when, life gets difficult. We use sport as a tool to learn these sorts of things to help you manage the challenges that come ahead in life. So please, give this a go, because it's not just for your basketball careers, it's to help you with life as well and the journeys that are ahead of you. So I just wanted to add that. Thank you.
Goodbye. Thanks, Shay Marie. Appreciate that. Yeah, look, I mean, it's massive. So it's something that I'm teaching to the coaches around the country as well, not just so that they can understand the work you do, but so that they can use it themselves. I certainly use it myself. So coaches, administrators, managers, and psychologists, we've all got to come up with examples of where we've used the breathing over the week. So I'll send it out, but it's real simple instruction or task for you to take away. So get creative with that. Think about where and when you can use it, where you can build it into your training, and we'll just talk about some of the before and after effects of doing it. Next week, we're going to spend more time looking at the breath, debrief that and understand a bit about where we can use it. And we'll start to get to know, all right, when we bring our mind back, the best performers in the world, the people who are succeeding in their goals, where do we bring our mind back to? So what we're looking to do is use these reset skills. So what are our process goals? Where do we want our attention if we want to be able to lock back in the game? Okay, folks, great to meet you all. And I'll look forward to seeing what you come up with for next week. I've sent you a workbook that you can have a look at, so you can share that with coaches, family. Absolutely, if you want to have a read ahead and see some of the things that we're going to cover, do that. And this will be a reference book that'll get you a really long way. So I'll say a ngā mihi and good night. And Liam, Shea Marie, any others, anything you want to add before we wrap up?
No, just reiterate to the, what I said at the start. That the workbooks have been sent to you guys. So yeah, make sure you get on top of that. It's not going to be something we're not going to be able to get on top of this stuff and get better at it by just turning up to these, sessions with Campbell, once a week kind of thing. Like Campbell's giving you the stuff to do because it works, and it's going to take time. So do go and do that in your own time. Don't just kind of let it pass. Could be the difference between a certain moment where you can perform even this year at Asia Cup, and that could be the difference between making a World Cup or not. So yeah, take it seriously and make sure you get all over it.